And a welcome into the Otters Digital Network. A beautiful night here in Washington, Pennsylvania. It all comes down to this. The Otters have a chance to clinch their spot in the 2022 Frontier League postseason and secure the final three teams in the West Division. It would need a win tonight and a Lake Erie loss, and the Otters are in. We've got a long way to go before we get there. Final game between the Washington Wild Things and Evansville Otters, just a few minutes away here. This is a Washington team that, came to Evansville earlier in the year, grabbed some quality wins going into the All-Star break, and because of that, took a lead into the All-Star break. Then the teams faced 2 weeks ago here at Wild Things Park. Evansville got the best of Washington, ended their 9-series winning streak, started themselves on a good little winning streak. But from there, Evansville has fallen off the map a little bit in these couple of games here thus far. They got really beat well on Tuesday night, but last night it was anybody's ball game. These two teams played well. Evansville had themselves plenty of opportunities, but in the end were not able to capitalize on one of the chances and dropped the game 3-2. Ryan O'Reilly was a tough luck loser for Evansville, giving up the game-winning home run there in the fifth to Anthony Brocado that ended up lasting the entire way. Tonight, it's Brett Adcock for the Otters, and he's going to face off against the righty Steven Knapp, two guys who certainly value their positioning over their speed, and we'll see that one in this one plenty. Again, Evansville has a chance to clinch their spot in the 2022 postseason tonight with a win here in Washington and a loss from the Lake Erie Crushers in Schaumburg, Illinois. They are just about to announce the teams on the field, and we'll have the national anthem prior to tonight's first pitch between the Washington Wild Things and Evansville Otters. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next. Ready to play baseball here from Wild Things Park in Washington, Pennsylvania. Otters with a chance to clinch their ticket to the 2022 Frontier League postseason. Long way to go before then, though. Let's take you to the mound and introduce you to tonight's starting pitcher for this Washington squad. Steven Knapp gets the nod. 3-3 on the season, a 3.65 ERA. He's been extremely efficient for this Washington squad. A wind-up and delivery that's going to be a little different to the conventional style we've seen a lot this year. Going to make it a little difficult for some of these Otter hitters to pick up on that ball on its way home. Want to walk you through the starting nine for Evansville tonight. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, is the center fielder Miles Gordon. He'll be followed by the second baseman Andy Armstrong. And for Andy Armstrong, a return back to the top or near the top of the order for the first time in some time. He has 7 games as the leadoff man this year, but other than that, every other game has either been in the 7, 8, or 9 hole for him. So Armstrong's going to get a taste of the top half of the order action. He's followed by the third baseman J.R. Davis, who's just a couple games removed from his 500th career professional hits. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot will be the first baseman Zach Bierman, and batting fifth is the left fielder Jeffrey Baez. Batting sixth is the right fielder Elijah Mcnamee, prior to the 7-hole hitter, designated hitter Brian Rosario. Batting eighth is the catcher Justin Felix. And the shortstop George Khalil rounds out the starting 9 for this Evansville squad. Couple of other things to make you aware today. If you did not see on the Otters social media earlier today, the Frontier League announced the Postseason Awards throughout the league, and also named in those awards Logan Sawyer, named as the Frontier League's Reliever of the Year. And then Mandy Flagg, the Otters athletic trainer, named the Athletic Trainer of the Year here in the Frontier League. And before we were done, Cameron Ellison, the Assistant Clubhouse Manager for Evansville, named the Clubby of the season. A big congratulations to all 3 of those for receiving postseason awards here in the Frontier League. All very well deserved for those 3 individuals. Miles Gordon's at the plate. We're ready to kick this ball game off. Knapp has himself ready to go, and Miles Gordon, who went 0 for 4 yesterday, will start off this game with a called strike at 7:07 p.m. and we're underway from Wild Things Park. Miles Gordon entered our series still batting in that upper 200s level. A check swing that he did go around far enough on drops him back to 0-2 in the count. Umpires for tonight's contest, as assigned by the Frontier League, Nicholas Saxton mans things behind the plate. Jim Shaley working things on the right side of the infield. And the just announced Frontier League Umpire of the Year, Mike O'Leary, mans the left side of the end. A swinging strike 3 will sit down Miles Gordon with a strikeout to kick off this one. He goes down to a knee swinging at that one. And we'll bring up the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. At this time, we walk you through the defensive alignment for Washington tonight. Tristan Peterson, who had been the designated hitter, is going to take over out there in left. Hector Roa in center. Anthony Brocado out and right. Ian Walters mans third base before Tyler Wilbur at short. Cam Bellego at second, and Andrew Check at first. The catcher for this evening's game is Devin Fisher. The righty Fisher will also bat ninth. And again, Steven Knapp up on the mound for Washington this evening. First pitch is outside for ball 1 for Andy Armstrong, and a 1-0 pitch home. Has a cracked bat, ball goes up the middle, played by Bellego. Throw over to first is high. They try to apply the tag, and it was not applied, so Armstrong's going to end up reaching.
What's the rolling?
Broken bat, half of the bat went flying to the left side of the infield. Ball went up the middle.
Not anything, Cody.
And some more lumber for the fire there. Get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber. So an error out there on Bellego allows Armstrong to reach here in the first inning. And that will bring the Otters' top RBI man to the plate, J.R. Davis. First pitch to him, stays inside for ball 1. Final game of the regular season for the Otters here in Washington. After tonight's game, they make their way to Florence to face the Y'alls for the final 3 games of the 2022 regular season. 1-0 home. Armstrong's going towards second. A nice throw out there, and Armstrong will slide into the tag for out number 2. Davis takes the pitch for ball 2 and takes a 2-0 count lead. (2-0) to Davis. That one finds the zone and takes the count to 2-1. Here with 2 outs in the top half of the first inning. A 2-1 to J.R. Davis. That's off the handle of the bat off towards first, and Check will pick it up and step on first himself. Otters had something going there for a second, but immediately it's erased from them, and we head to the bottom half of the first. Still scoreless from Washington. Bottom half of the first inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Still scoreless from Washington. Evansville got a man on in the first due to an error, but a caught stealing immediately erased that. And with that, we introduce you to tonight's starting pitcher for the Otters. The lefty, Brett Adcock, mans the mound. The 9 that the kid will face starts off with the left fielder Tristan Peterson, shortstop Tyler Wilbur, and right fielder Anthony Brocado. Complete the top 3. Batting in the cleanup spot is the designated hitter Wagner LaGrange before the first baseman Andrew Check bats 5th. Second baseman Cam Bellego in the 6th hole. Batting 7th is the third baseman Ian Walters. Batting 8th, the center fielder Hector Roa. And batting 9th is the catcher Devin Fisher. Quick 2-0 count home to Tristan Peterson. Adcock fires home now. High and inside for ball 3. Defense won't make any adjustment here prior to the 3-0 pitch home, which finds the zone on the inside edge for a called strike 1. Adcock's closing in on a big milestone, getting close to 500 career strikeouts. Won't get one here as ball 4 stays inside for a leadoff walk. Officially, the number for Adcock right now is 482. He would need a monstrous start to grab the final 18. He needs to hit 500 this year. So with the leadoff walk to Tristan Peterson, it brings the shortstop Tyler Wilbur to the plate. The last 2 nights, Wilbur has batted in the 9 hole. He'll start off with a called strike 1. (0-1) on the way home from Adcock. This one's driven out towards right field. Mcnamee will chase back towards the warning track, and with his heels on the warning track, brings it in for the first out. Do want to take a second to walk you through the Otters' defensive alignment tonight. It's a fairly similar lineup for this Evansville defensively. Jeffrey Baez out in left, Miles Gordon in center, Elijah Mcnamee out in right. Across the infield, left to right, we've got J.R. Davis at third, George Khalil at short, Andy Armstrong at second, Zach Bierman at first. It's Justin Felix once again behind the plate. Swinging strike one will kick off the at-bat for Anthony Brocado. His base hit last night was the game decider. It was a missile out to left field that brought in 2 runs, one of which being the game-winning run. Hefty swinging strike two has pulled Brocado back to an 0-2 count now. Some cloud coverage certainly helping, but there is a bit of sun poking through here at Wild Things Park. Really, Baez and left, the only one who might have to deal with any of it. Called strike 3 on the inside edge, and the kid, Brett Adcock, has his first German-American Bank strikeout on the day. Attack the inside on the 0-2, caught Brocado looking, and it's good for out number 2 in the half inning. Two outs, first pitch home, finds the zone for a called strike one. Same place he got Brocado looking in that last at-bat. Bottom of the first, still no score here from Wild Things Park. 0-1 pitch to Lagrange. Stays low and outside, and with it our count evens up at a ball and a strike. Again, Otters head to Florence after this one. They'll finish the season against the Yalls. The Yalls have been eliminated from postseason contention for a couple weeks. They've got nothing to lose and certainly could be a menace to this Otters team. These games will mean quite a bit here in this last weekend, as if Schaumburg struggles there at Joliet, Evansville has the chance to pass them up into second place, which is where you want to be right now because it means you host that one-game wild card. Right now, the Otters just want to make sure they have their ticket punched. A hard hit ball up the middle is going to get past George Khalil at short and into center field. And it's a 2-out base hit for Wagner Lagrange, the first hit of the game for Washington. With it, there's men at first and second for one of the most dangerous Wild Things in these couple of series thus far, Andrew Check. There are an absolute ton of games to be made up in the East Division this week due to a bunch of rainouts earlier this week. So we do have a couple of doubleheaders and already a couple of final scores. Ottawa defeats Trois-Rivières 6-5 in game one of their doubleheader. Quebec defeats New Jersey 4-0 in game one of their doubleheader. Both will play a second game here shortly. In the Ottawa Trois-Rivières one, by the way, they had to go to extra innings, and Ottawa won 6-5. Check takes ball one, and Adcock will get set prior to the 1-0 pitch home. On the way now, finds the zone and evens the count up. 1-1 strike. They are just getting started in Schaumburg. Between Lake Erie and the Boomers, Evansville is certainly hoping for a Lake Erie loss at this point, as it would help clinch their ticket. Really, it's a win-win situation for Evansville, as even if Schaumburg were to lose the game, it means that the Otters get a little closer to potentially grabbing that second spot. So the instant gratification is a Lake Erie loss tonight. The long-term success might be that Schaumburg loss tonight. We'll keep an eye on that game for you all evening long, of course. 2-1 is the count for the first baseman, Andrew Check. 2 men on, 2 men out here in the bottom half of the first inning. Adcock attacks high and in, and they're saying it was foul-tipped. And rightfully so. Andrew Check cannot believe it. So with it, the count's going to even at 2-2, and Brett Adcock might have just been gifted a strike here. See if he can use it to his advantage. Deuces Shirley Wild, a 2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 on. Andrew Check waiting at the plate. Adcock fires home. It's high for ball 3.
Ball three. Ball three, guys. It came back on again.
So we will have to try it at a full count. The lefty Brett Adcock gets set prior to the 3-2 pitch home. On the way. Put out towards left center, down for a base hit. Rounding third's going to be Peterson. Picked up by Gordon. There will be no play. It's an RBI single for Andrew Check. And for the 6th straight game, Evansville falls guilty of a first inning run against. All 3 games against Florence, now all 3 games against Washington. First inning runs for the opposition. This one an RBI single. And the lineup doesn't get any easier with the second baseman Cam Bellego heading to the plate. Another solid bat. First pitch home from Adcock. Taken for a called strike 1, just under the elbows on the outside. So some solid contact have given the Wild Things an early lead in this one. Adcock sends home an 0-1. That stays low and inside and evens the count up. Crowd not as big as most of the games we've seen so far here at Washington, but there are some other events that are pulling some fans away. Foul ball off to the right side has Bierman running, but he's going to run out of real estate over there. Just barely, only by a couple of feet at the end of it. Yeah, of course, the big college football game between West Virginia and Pitt taking quite a few away, and then also Penn State in action. So some of the local favorites drawing some attention away from the Wild Things tonight. Finally to week 1 of the college football season, but the Otters have something else in mind. Another ball sent out towards left. Baez chasing in. It's going to drop in front of him. Back-to-back RBI singles. They're going to throw out to second to try to grab the man, but a ball bounces in and everyone's safe. And back-to-back RBI singles now have the Wild Things up 2-0. So with Bellego at first and Check at second, third baseman Ian Walters heads to the plate. Walters a sub-300 hitter, but not by much. First pitch home from Adcock. Misses to the outside for ball 1. The former Michigan Wolverine, Brett Adcock, trying to get himself out of this first inning. A 1-0 home, bounces in for ball 2. This battery of Brett Adcock and Justin Felix this year have a 6-4 battery record, and in 74 2/3 innings of work, they've given up just 24 earned runs for a 3.06 battery ERA. 74 strikeouts in 74 innings for these two. 2-0, sent sharply to the right side, into the glove of Armstrong. His throw over to first in time. My goodness, Andy Armstrong's done it again. That is a huge grab that gets us out of this first inning, but not before the Wild Things scored 2 runs on back-to-back RBI singles. We are on our way to the second inning. It's Wild Things 2, Evansville 0 here on the Otters Digital Network. Top of the second inning, Evansville trails by a pair after back-to-back RBI singles from Andrew Check and Cam Bellego. And for the sixth straight game, Evansville giving up first inning runs and having to play from behind. Did want to mention that in these few minutes before first pitch and now right after we've kicked off this ball game, a few Evansville Otter fans down there near the third base dugout. Good to see the Otter faithful here in Washington. 4, 5, 6 due up for the Otters. Zach Bierman, Jeffrey Baez, and Elijah Mcnamee will try to cut into this Washington lead here in the top half of the second inning. Bierman last night 1 for 4 with a triple in the sixth inning. He would come home to score, but the Otters would still be 1 run short. First pitch to him. Hefty swinging strike one. He's just ahead of it, though, for strike one. 0-1 the count. Bierman again swinging through one, this time for strike two. Bierman certainly chomping at the bit for that ball to get home. So dropped back to an 0-2 count. Pitch comes home well outside. And Bierman's able to leave that one alone. A very deep positioning for the second baseman, Bellego, playing in shallow right now. A 1-2's hit right at him out there near second. Picked up by Bellego. The throw to first is in time for out number one in the inning. So we don't know for sure, but it does kind of look like the Otters will likely be throwing Austin Gossman, Justin Watland, and Ryan O'Reilly potentially in this next series ahead of them. Or apologies, Austin Gossman, then Justin Watland, and then potentially Zach Smith. Hard to tell exactly for now. We'll have a clearer picture once this game concludes. 1-0 to Jeffrey Baez. Rides in near the hands, and it's a called strike due to the way that Baez stands in there with his hands almost on top of the plate. 1-1 the count. Jeffrey Baez trying to be the first Otter to grab a hit in the game. Pitch well outside. Takes our count to 2 balls, 1 strike. Defense not making any major changes for Baez's at bat. Everyone returning to typical positioning. 2-1 home. Baez hits one sharply to the left side. It's into the glove of Walters at third. Long throw across in time for out number 2. Walters even took an extra half second to get himself set. Still made a good, accurate throw across. So that will bring up Elijah Mcnamee. Mac went 1 for 4 in last night's game with a single in the second inning. Was bunted to second. He stole third, but he was one of 4 Otters stranded at third in the ballgame. If he can get himself on, Brian Rosario stands in wait in the on-deck area. Ball 1 is outside to kick off the at-bat for Mcnamee. Mcnamee's biggest moment of last night's game was the throw he made from right field in the first inning. 1-0, this time inside, ball 2. The throw from right, gunned the man down on his way home. It wasn't necessarily Mcnamee's best outfield assist. He's had a couple of really nice ones this year, but it certainly beat the man home and got the Otters out of a tough inning. 2-0, this time misses to the outside. Knapp just playing back and forth with the strike zone now. 3-0 the count. A 3-0 pitch with 2 outs to Elijah Mcnamee. Taken for a called strike in the high inside corner. Rosario standing on deck over there. 3-1 home. Good for a called strike 2. Mcnamee was already going to take off his ankle guard. He thought it was a little bit low. So it all comes down to a full count payoff pitch offering. Knapp fires home. It's driven out towards right. It's curving off that way and is going to fall for extra bases for Elijah Mcnamee. Rounds first. We'll have a close play near second, but McNamee is going to be in there with the Otters' first hit of the ball game. And with 2 outs, Evansville has a man out there at second. So Brian Rosario will try to do something with Elijah McNamee's 2-out double. When Rosario was signed by this Evansville squad, he played a couple of games near the bottom of the order. Then this Otters coaching staff realized what they had found, and Rosario has spent every game since that he's played in the top 3 of the lineup. This is the first time he's been sent back down to the bottom half of the lineup. He's batting lefty as Knapp is a righty up on the mound. And of course, if later in the game we see a lefty enter, we'll see Rosario swap over to the other side of the plate. Takes a called strike on the inside to kick off his count. 0-1 with 2 outs and a man at second. Knapp has himself ready on the 0-1. On its way to Rosario. There goes McNamee to third. There will be no throw. And McNamee's got himself second steal in as many days. But it was a called strike, so Rosario is going to have to fight back from an 0-2 count. Now a man just 90 feet away from scoring. An 0-2 to Rosario. Push to the left side, foul. Will end up working its way down towards the Otters bullpen. Austin Gossman will make the run out of the Otters bullpen to go grab that one. He's likely tomorrow night's starter. Let's try again. The 0-2 pitch to Brian Rosario is outside for ball 1. Good work from Fisher to make sure that stayed in front of him. All things considered, this is not the deepest backstop in the league, so a pitch that gets past Fisher could still make for a close play at home if McNamee tried to sneak home on it. 1-2 to Rosario. It's fouled off towards the left side. And the count will remain at 1-2. Certainly a couple of ballparks where there is nearly double this amount of space behind home. It would probably take a pretty good bounce off that back wall for Evansville to not score on a wild pitch or a pass ball. 1-2 home. Works a little inside, and with it our count evens at 2-2. McNamee stands on third with 2 outs. Brian Rosario trying to bring him home on a 2-2 pitch from Stephen Knapp. It's grounded weakly to the right side. Charging in was Check, and he's safe. They say Rosario got over the tag, and because of it, Evansville's going to score a run and bring themselves to within 1. But first, we're going to have a conversation about this one. Rosario hustled down the line when jumping over the alleged tag and got himself in there safely. Umpires are going to meet to have a quick discussion about this one. But as it stands, Evansville's grabbed themselves a run. Officially on an infield single. Long discussion between Saxton, Shaley, and O'Leary there. And by long, I mean longer than these quick discussions usually are. Certainly one of the longest talks we've seen between umpires on a close call this year. This is a good crew that this series has been gifted with. Finally, they've got their discussion. They're calling him out now. So Rosario will not be safe. The Otters will not get themselves a run. And we're on to the bottom half of the second. Evansville trails by 2. Well, the Otters thought they had gotten themselves a little closer in this one, but after a discussion between umpires, they overturned their original decision, and we head to the bottom half of the second. After we signed off, though, Andy McCauley stated a couple of extra thoughts about the play and was excused from the rest of this ball game. So I assume we'll probably see Bobby Siegel go out there and man the third base coaching box for the remainder of this one. Of course, we'll get to that next time the Otters come to the plate. Starting off this bottom of the second, Hector Roa, the 8-hole hitter for Washington. 1-1 home is sent out towards center. Gordon's going to chase in, and it's going to drop in front of him for a single, then get past him. Working back towards the wall, there goes Roa around second. The relay in's going to be a bit late, and it is a extra couple of bases for Hector Roa. Had himself a single. Gordon looked up a little too soon, and it ends up being a triple, or sorry, 3 bases for Hector Roa. Just because Gordon overran it. Officially a single. Extra bases on the overrun from Gordon. And there's not really a worse way to, or a worse thing to have come out after you think you had gotten yourself a run. It's a race from the board. You come out here defensively and immediately have a play like that. Not at all what Evansville needed. Low inside pitch will even our count up. Man at third is Hector Roa with nobody out in the second. One finds the zone and takes our count to 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Adcock trying to start the process of slamming the door after that leadoff base hit. 1-2 misses on the inside. And we bounce out to a 2-2 count. Is some room up the middle if Fisher was able to send it right back where it came from. 2-2 home. This one sent very high and foul. It's going to get out of play to the right side. We'll end up in the upper section of seating.
There's 4 people over there, and it's right next to him. They won't even look.
After the foul ball, we remain at 2-2. Pitch on the way, stays high. First base umpire Jim Shaley says no, he did not go around, so our count goes full. Adcock getting set prior to the 3-2 pitch home. It's on the way. Crushed out towards left. Is it going to stay fair? Does not look like it, and we will remain at 3-2. Really good contact there from Fisher, but it kept hooking foul, 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 and ended up being well foul. There is a chance that Evansville could see themselves back at this ballpark in about a week and a half. Not only would it take a wild card game win, then it would 3-2 hit again out towards left. This one working towards the wall, and that one's gone for real. Fisher sent the last one a bit foul. This one, there's no doubt, goes off the top ribbon of ads out there. And just like that, the lead is doubled. The worst way for Evansville to come back out here after having a run erased from the board was to give up runs right back. And that's exactly what's happened. First pitch home to Tristan Peterson, the leadoff man, stays high and outside for ball 1. Currently 4-0 now in favor of the Wild Things. Adcock fires home on the 1-0. Stays high for ball 2. Ball sent foul off to the right side, bounces off the rim and back down towards the fans. And with it, our count goes to 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike to Tristan Peterson. Adcock throws that way, and it stays high once again for ball 3. Also do want to start giving you another look through the Frontier League tonight after the 3-1 pitch home. Swinging strike two will take us full and give Adcock a chance to grab a first out of the inning. They're in the bottom of the fifth inning in Northern Kentucky, where the Florence Yalls have themselves a 4-0 lead over the Joliet Slammers. Ball sent to the right side is foul, and we'll stay at 3-2. A Joliet loss or an Evansville win will eliminate the Slammers from playoff contention. And right now in the fifth inning, down 4 at Florence, the backs are against the wall for Joliet. New York does have a 4-3 lead over Empire as well right now, bottom of the second inning there. Swinging strike three, and Adcock's got himself a German-American Bank strikeout, the second of the day, and it's a much-needed out after giving up a couple runs here to start off the inning. Elsewhere in the Frontier League, they are just getting started with Game 2 between Quebec and New Jersey, still scoreless there in the second inning. And they are just about to get started in Windy City between the Thunderbolts and Grizzlies. First pitch home to Tyler Wilbur, foul tipped into the glove of Felix for strike one. They are underway in Schaumburg. Lake Erie unable to score in the top half of the first. They're on to the bottom half right now. We'll keep walking you through the Frontier League scoreboard as the night progresses. 0-1 home, stays low. Nearly bounces in for ball one. Evens our count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tyler Wilbur, the shortstop, flew out to right his first time up. 1-1 pitch to him here, stays high for ball two. Also, if you missed it at the top of the broadcast, did mention that the Frontier League announced today their end-of-season awards. Logan Sawyer named the Frontier League's Reliever of the Year. Hard not to, and you've got that many appearances and that many opportunities and still have yet to give up an earned run. Also named Cam Ellison, the assistant clubhouse manager for the Otters, was named the Clubby of the Year, and Mandy Flagg, the athletic trainer for Evansville, named the Athletic Trainer of the Year here in the Frontier League. A huge congratulations to all three of them for being named to the FL's Postseason Awards. 3-2 on the way home. Sent foul to the right side, and the at-bat will continue. 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second have given Washington a 4-0 advantage. Otters thought for sure they had grabbed themselves a run in the top half, but it was pulled away from them, and also their manager tossed from the game in the same cycle of things. A called strike three on the inside edge, and Adcock has back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts. His second called strike three of the day. So the big bat of Anthony Brocado heads to the plate now. Batting over 300 on the season between his time here in Washington and there in Florence. What a great deadline day acquisition for this Washington squad. He's been exceptional this year. First pitch to him. Misses high and in. Two outs, bases empty here in the second inning. Washington has already scored 2. 1-0 pitch towards Brocado. Stays high once again for ball 2. Our count as the pitch comes home. Stays high for ball 3 now. That's one of the first times Adcock's tried to throw his big curveball, and it didn't really get a good bite back to him towards the zone. So he'll send home a 3-0 pitch now to Brocado. Missing high once again, and it's a 4-pitch walk for Anthony Brocado. So to the plate is the designated hitter Wagner Lagrange. Lagrange had himself a single back in the first. Came around to score on the RBI single from Cam Bellego. First pitch home, stays high for ball 1. Big lead over there at first for Brocado. 1-0 pitch does finally catch the zone. So even the count at 1-1. Adcock staring down Brocado at first. A 1-1 home. Stays well inside for ball 2. Two balls, one strike for Wagner Lagrange, trying to extend this inning for Washington. Swinging strike evens the count at 2-2. Strong pitch there from Adcock to once again attack the zone. Now the 2-2 to Wagner Lagrange, the designated hitter. Inside for ball 3. We've got another full count. Three and 2 the counts for Wagner Lagrange. Pitch comes home and it's sent foul to the right side, back towards the netting. We'll have to do it again. Otters still with plenty to play for this last weekend. Not only can they clinch their playoff spot as early as tonight, they're also trying to get themselves back into the second place spot where Schaumburg currently sits so they could host Tuesday night. 3-2, sent out towards left. Baez is going to watch that one fly. It's another 2-run home run for the Wild Things here in the second. So this game quickly goes from what looked like it was going to be 2-1 Washington to now 6-0 Washington. Things certainly worked their way into the Wild Things' favor, and now they are beginning to put some significant space between them and the Otters. As Lagrange trotted around, Felix went out and had a quick word with his pitcher Brett Adcock, and with it, the Otters are going to get a man warming. Andrew Check making his way to the plate. He drove in the game's first run with an RBI single back in the first, brought home Tristan Peterson. Looks like it's going to be Tyler Spring who starts the throw for the Otters. And indeed it is. Spring, the 6'6" righty out of Wiggins, Mississippi. Counts evened at 1-1 for Andrew Check. Hit sharply towards the shortstop space, and Khalil can't get to it. It's out into center for another base hit. This a 2-out single for Andrew Check. And Max Peterson's going to have a walkout to talk with his pitcher. Washington is very clearly showing why they are the best team in the West Division, maybe the best team in this entire league. And it's because they just keep pouring it on you. The entire infield will come in to have a chat. Adcock does look frustrated. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. The crazy thing is, of the 5 outs recorded so far by Adcock, 3 of them have been strikeouts. So our meeting up there has concluded. Everyone returns to their assigned locations after the rosin bag was passed around, and it will bring up Cam Bellego, who had an RBI single as well in that first inning. Adcock fires home the first pitch. Well inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count for Cam Bellego. Another low inside pitch. Gets away from Felix for a second. Because of it, Czech is going to get himself a free base out there. Spring is well into his warm-ups now. Starting to glance back towards the field. Could be ready at any point now. Two balls, no strikes for Cam Bellego. Adcock fires home. It's cranked down the left field line, but that one's going to be foul. Of course, the last time that happened earlier this inning, Devin Fisher just evened it up a little bit and sent another one over the left field wall. In order for Evansville to make the postseason tonight, they needed a win as well as a Lake Erie loss. Now they're going to have to do a little bit more work in this one in order to end up on the winning side. 6-0 Washington here in the second inning. Counts even at 2-2 now. Adcock taking his time up there. Glances back towards Czech at second and fires home the 2-2. A check swing, called strike 3 will end the inning. All 3 outs in the second are strikeouts from Adcock, but working around it are a couple of 2-run home runs, which has put Washington up 6-0 in this one. Third inning comes at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. Top of the third inning here from Washington, Pennsylvania. All Wild things right now in this one. It was a huge momentum shifter for the Otters to have that run disallowed. Back there in that top half of the second inning, because immediately Washington came out and put up 4 runs of their own with a couple of home runs, and now we're sitting here thinking what could have been. 0-1 the count for Justin Felix. Pitch on the way. Finds the zone for a called strike 2. So officially, Mcnamee was stranded on third in that last half inning. Just another occurrence that Evansville's left a man stranded there. 0-2 for Justin Felix. Knapp sends it home. Outside ball 1. Felix came into the game last night to pinch hit in the 9th. Sent a hard hit ball out towards center that ended up being dropped by Roa out there. But they sent Felix towards third. And a foul tip into the glove is across for swinging strike 3. And it's the second strikeout of the day for Stephen Knapp. George Khalil heading to the plate. A 9-hole hitter for Evansville. Grabbed a hit in last night's game, went 1 for 3. His other 2 outs were quality at-bats. He hit the ball hard, just in the wrong directions. One ended up going right at the right fielder, Brocado. The other one was just a little bit under hit, and because of it was fouled off towards the right side. 0-1 to Khalil. Cranked out towards left. Peterson will chase in, and he'll be able to grab it for out number 2. Once again, great contact for George Khalil, but it's right at a man in the outfield for an out. So back to the top of the order we go to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon. First pitch home. Sent foul to the right side. 4 strike 1. Oh, 1 counts as Miles Gordon steps back in with 2 outs and nobody on in the 3rd inning. 0-1 to the plate. Just missed on the outside, and our count evens. One. High and outside ball 2. Andy Armstrong stands on deck just in case Miles Gordon can find his way on base. 2-1 home. Caught the high inside corner and evens our count up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here with nobody on in the 3rd. Two. Sent foul sharply to the right side, and once again, we stay even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. It was a hard hit ball there from Gordon, but well foul as the count stays even. A 2-2 home. This one sent out towards center. Roa will chase back, and he turned the wrong direction, and Gordon is going to get himself an extra couple of bases. Rounding second, his run towards third, and he'll have a stand-up extra couple of bases due to Roa kind of getting tangled up out there in the outfield. Roa started working his way towards it and then had to kind of make a strange turn out there, and because of it, he lost the ball and it dropped behind him. So with 2 outs, Miles Gordon has himself a triple. And again, the Otters have a chance to bring in a man with 2 outs. Andy Armstrong heading to the plate now. Armstrong got the promotion to the 2 spot in the lineup tonight. First pitch to him. Works its way to the inside for strike 1. Gordon with a good lead over there at third. As the 0-1 makes its way home to Armstrong. Well outside for ball 1. Good work to get across to it and keep it in front of him from Fisher. Knapp taking his time prior to the 1-1. It's on the way to Armstrong. Swinging strike 2, just a bit ahead of that one. And it'll come down to a 2-strike pitch for Armstrong to try to bring the man in. One ball, 2 strikes. Pitch misses outside, and Armstrong will once again see his count extended, this time to 2-2. Man at third with 2 outs. Armstrong waiting on the 2-2. It's off the high inside corner and foul tipped away. Count will remain at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Armstrong. RBI chance here. The pitch on the way. It's sent out towards left. Chasing in is Peterson. Thinks he's underneath it. Indeed he is for out number 3. And for the second straight inning, Evansville leaves a man on third. We head to the bottom half of the third. It's Washington 6, Evansville 0 on the Otters Digital Network. Bottom of the third inning. Washington 6, Evansville 0. 4 runs scored in the bottom half of the second for the Wild Things on 2 separate 2-run home runs. One from Devin Fisher, the next from Wagner LaGrange. Oh, 1 a quick count for Ian Walters. Now he sends one out towards center. Gordon will chase in a few steps and grab it for out number 1. To the 8-hole we go, to Hector Roa. Roa reached in his last opportunity. Officially, it was a single, but due to the ball being overrun by Gordon out there in center, Roa ended up getting all the way to third. His first pitch of this at-bat stays low for ball one. Adcock coming way over the top with that pitch, trying to deliver some downward motion. It stayed too low. Now ball two on the inside. Defense has not had many shiftings to them so far in this contest. As a 2-0 comes home to Roa. Pushes the ball out towards right field. Mcnamee will work over to his left and bring it in for out number 2. A couple of hard hit balls here in the half inning, but sent far too high to go anywhere. And it's a quick 2 outs for Brett Adcock and the Otters defense. It'll bring up Devin Fisher, who of course hit that 2-run home run his last time up. In fact, just a couple of pitches prior, he sent one booming out towards left but foul, and he answered it with one that was more on line. Adcock starts off the count with ball one. And will take an extra second to reset prior to the 1-0 pitch home to the catcher Devin Fisher. This one is swung through for strike one, and with it our count's evened up. Again, right now the Otters in a position where they're trying to play in Tuesday night's one-game wild card here in the Frontier League West Division. If they make it, we know it'll be against Schaumburg. We just don't know where it'll be yet. Either team could host at this point. Just depends on how these last 4 games fall. 1-2 home. Swinging strike 3. And Adcock's going to get himself a German American Bank strikeout, his 5th of the day, to end this 3rd inning. We're on our way to the 4th. Evansville trails by 6. Top of the 4th inning, Brett Adcock and the Otters able to grab a 3-up, 3-down inning in that last half, trying to work themselves one by one back into this game. First pitch home to Davis. Stays inside for ball 1. Davis in the game, 0 for 1 with a ground out to first base. The 1-0 towards him. Good working pitch, work back towards the inside and grab the zone for a called strike 1. Knapp ready on the 1-1 pitch, fires home, and it's sent to the left side of the infield. Played into the glove of Walters at third. His throw to first is in time for out number 1. So that'll bring up the first baseman, Zach Bierman. He's the cleanup hitter today. And with that, we want to give you another tour through the Frontier League. Joliet knew their backs were against the wall. They've scored 3 runs in the 6th, but they still trail 4-3 at Florence. Slammers are eliminated from postseason contention with a loss tonight. Elsewhere around the league, Lake Erie has themselves a 1-0 lead at Schaumburg. First pitch to Bierman, swinging strike 1. At least right now, Bierman has had some trouble waiting on the pitch to get home from Stephen Knapp. 0-1 to Bierman. Pitch misses outside and the count evens. Bierman ended up grounding out to Bellego out there at second, who is really playing a very shallow right field. 1-1, and Bierman sends it sharply to the right side. Fouled off towards the bullpen of Washington. One ball, 2 strikes to Zach Bierman. Pushed off, foul to the left side. Will go into the netting and keep the count at 1-2. One and two as the pitch comes home to Bierman. This one sent very high and shallow here in the infield. Wilbur at short's underneath it and just barely brings it in for out number 2. The left fielder Jeffrey Baez now makes his way to the plate. 0 for 1 with a ground out to the third baseman. Back in the second. Otters just have 2 hits in the game. They're both extra base hits. But they've so far left both of their men stranded at third. First pitch home to Baez. It's cranked out towards center. Roa's working over towards it in the gap. And he'll bring it in for out number 3. A very quick top half of the 4th. We are on our way to the home half. Washington leads this one 6-0 here at Wild Things Park in Washington, Pennsylvania. bottom of this fourth inning. Washington leading this one 6-0. We've had 3 back-to-back-to-back, 3 up, 3 down innings for the two squads. And leading off this home half of the fourth will be Tristan Peterson, who's guilty of a called strike 1. Peterson is 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout and a walk so far to his name. After he walked in the first inning, came around to score on Czech's RBI single. 0-1 home, stays high for ball 1. Our count evens up. One home, misses just below the knees, and Adcock will fall behind 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike for Tristan Peterson, the leadoff man. Pitch misses for ball 3 now, and Adcock has some work to do from behind. Tomorrow night, a 7 o'clock local, 6 o'clock Evansville time first pitch from Florence. As the ball is sent foul to make this a full count. We move forward 30 minutes on Saturday night, 6:30 local first pitch, 5:30 back in Evansville. They are once again at Florence, and then the regular season concludes on Sunday with a 1 o'clock local, noon Evansville time first pitch from Florence. Ball sent out towards center, and Gordon barely has to move out there to make the catch for out number 1 in the inning. So a couple of little changes in times there, of course. So if you're in Evansville, it's a 6 o'clock Friday, a 5:30 on Saturday, and a noon on Sunday, which means the Otters will get themselves home at a good time on Sunday night. And by the time they get home, they still probably won't know the results of Schaumburg and Joliet, who don't take place till that evening. And there's a good chance that the Otters would have to wait to see where they're playing Tuesday until that Sunday night game concludes, depending on how things fall these next couple days. 0-1 pitch. Stays low and evens the count. Basically, if Schaumburg wins tonight, the Otters would have to win their final 3, and Schaumburg would have to lose their final 3 for Evansville to get to play that Tuesday night game at home. The Otters really needed to come here to Washington and win probably 2 out of 3 in order to give themselves a good buffer going into the weekend series. Now they've got their work cut out for them. One-two to the plate. This one sent down the right field line, well foul. It's going to get out of play. One and two count for Wilbur. Way inside. Did it hit him? Yes, it did. And Wilbur will get himself on base with 1 out. So it's a 1-out hit by pitch for Tyler Wilbur. It'll bring up the big bat of Anthony Brocado. He's 0 for 1 in the game with a 3-pitch strikeout in the first and then a 4-pitch walk in the second. First pitch home. Misses for ball 1 for Brett Adcock. Good lead over at first for Wilbur. Prior to the 1-0 pitch home to Brocado. He sends one very high out towards left. And Baez is going to have to really hustle in to get to it. Able to bring it in, though, for out number 2. So with 2 outs and a man on first, the cleanup hitter Wagner Lagrange heads to the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a single and a 2-run home run in the game. His 2-run home run was the second of the second inning for Washington. Going to go check over on the runner is Brett Adcock, but back in time is Tyler Wilbur. Pitch comes home for ball 1 to kick off the count for Wagner LaGrange. Another check over at first, and once again Wilbur's back in time. Adcock taking his time prior to the 1-0 pitch. It's on the way to LaGrange, who takes it for a called strike, and our count evens up at 1-1. One ball, one strike for LaGrange. Adcock sends it home, and it's swung on for strike 2. The 1-2 stays low, gets through the legs of Felix, and because of it, Wilbur will take an extra base. Adcock taking an extra second. Prior to the 2-2 pitch, Wilbur stands on second. It's hit on the ground towards Armstrong at second base. He brings it in and over to first for the final out of the inning. We've played through 4, and it's Schaumburg 6, Evansville 0 here on your home for Evansville Baseball, the Otters Digital Network. We are on our way to the top half of the 5th inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Evansville with a lot of ground to make up in this one. They want to work closer to punching their ticket to the postseason. First pitch home to Elijah Mcnamee here in the 5th. Just misses high for ball one. Do want to give you a quick check in there in Schaumburg, Illinois, as they're in the bottom of the third inning. Crushers have taken a 4-0 lead, and we'll have to see if Lake Erie can hold on to a lead tonight. They have not been able to do that these last couple nights. Hard hit ball from Mcnamee right back up the middle. Nice play from Bellego. The throw to first. Is it in time? It is. Wonderful play from Bellego out there at second for out number one. A lot like the type of plays we've seen Andy Armstrong make this year, and Bellego made that one look almost effortless out there. So it's a quick out number one in the fifth, and it'll bring up the designated hitter, Brian Rosario, who's batting in the 7-hole today. Rosario saw his batting average fall under 300 earlier this week for the first time since joining Evansville back in early July. First pitch to him, he shows bunt and takes it for a called strike one. Rosario thought for sure he had gotten himself an RBI single earlier in this ball game, but the play was overturned, called an out. And because of it, Rosario officially 0 for 1. The 0-1 to the plate. This one's weakly grounded right back up the middle, and actually it goes backwards. Everyone thought it went straight forward, and when everyone turned around, it was standing behind all of them. And the count falls to 0-2. So Rosario on back-to-back plays kind of looked like it was going to be some small ball pieces for him. But now with an 0-2 count, likely have to swing the bat. The 0-2 home. And Rosario is able to let it go by for ball one. Again, with a win in Tuesday night's wild card game, if Evansville were to make it, it would book them a ticket back here in about a week and a half for games 2 and or 3 in the divisional series. 1-2, sent foul to the left side. It's going to get out of play and out of the ballpark. And the count remains at 1-2. Quebec is up big in Game 2 against New Jersey. By the way, Quebec did claim the East Division crown last night. So we know our division champions. We know the 1 seeds on both sides. Now we're just waiting to see who falls in place behind each side. The 1-2 to Brian Rosario. Stays outside for ball 2. And it certainly looks like over there in the East, we might not know who those 2 playoff teams are until Sunday evening, as between New York, Ottawa, Sussex County, and Tri-City, they're all decided by just 2 games between them. 2-2 home to Rosario. It's foul tipped away. Pitch was working out of the zone, and he extended the hands to keep himself alive. So the count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes for Brian Rosario. 1 out, bases empty here at the top of the 5th inning. Knapp fires home on the 2-2. This one's off the handle of the bat out towards left. Peterson works in and brings the ball in for out number 2. So the catcher, Justin Felix, now heads to the plate. 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far in the day. Felix did not start yesterday's game. It was a start for Brody Tanksley instead. Tanksley was good in the game, 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Then Felix came in to pinch hit in the 9th inning. Drove a ball out towards center. It was dropped by Roa. Felix tried to turn 2 bases into 3 and was caught on his way to third. Took away what could have been a potential game-tying run for Evansville in the 9th. before they fell 3-2. 0-1 for Justin Felix with 2 outs, bases empty. Makes contact, zooming the ball out towards left, but it works itself foul. And it'll drop the count to 0-2. The outfield has a bit of a shift to the left side for Felix. Infield not changing too much. 0-2 the count for the catcher, Justin Felix, with 2 outs and the bases empty here in the top half of the 5th inning. Ball on the way home. Zoom to the left side foul. It's off of the wall down the third base side, and will work over towards left field. So the count remains at 0-2 for Justin Felix. Still 2 outs, still nobody on, top of the 5th. The 0-2 to the plate. Just missed there at the elbows. Knapp thought for sure he had gotten out of the inning. But instead we extend by at least one more pitch as the count goes to 1-2 for Felix. Felix steps back out for a half second. And he's ready to go prior to the 1-2. Knapp gets set to fire home, and the 1-2 makes its way home. Zoomed out towards left. Peterson will step back maybe a half step, bring it in for out number 3. And we're on our way to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Evansville still trails by 6. Bottom of the 5th inning, and set to lead off the half inning for this Washington club. Andrew Check, the first baseman, takes a first pitch outside for ball 1. Defense set up for Check to pull the ball to the right side as Andy Armstrong playing in a shallow right field area. 1-0, zip to the right side over the glove of Bierman and into right field for a base hit. So on the 100th pitch of the day for Adcock, it's a hard hit single to the right side. Man at first. Nobody out, and Cambolego heads to the plate. He's 1 for 2. Sends one right back up the middle, off of the glove of Adcock, and out into center field. Looked like it maybe got the heel of the glove from Adcock. And back-to-back men on base here to kick off the bottom half of the 5th inning. Otters trail by 6 here at the Centerpoint Energy center point of the game. Max Peterson's going to go out and have a talk with his pitcher, and at the same time, Otters are going to once again get a man up and throwing in the bullpen. Tyler Springs started warming up back there in the 2nd inning. He sat down immediately and has not seen action once again. It's actually now Jacob Bowles who starts to throw for the Otters in left. Back-to-back singles have kicked off the half inning for Washington. Meeting at the mound has concluded. So with nobody out, there's men at first and second here in the home half of the 5th inning. Adcock getting himself set as the first pitch comes home to Walters for ball 1. Man at first is Bellego. Man at second, Check. They both reached on singles to start off the inning. High outside offering takes the count to 2 balls, no strikes. Defense is playing about halfway for Evansville, hoping for a double play here. 2-0 home. That finds the zone for a called strike. Ian Walters in this game, 0 for 2, was robbed of a base hit in the first by Andy Armstrong out there. 2-1. Finds the zone for a called strike, 2. Walters was thinking about going around. Good lead out at second for Andrew Check. Otters not really worried about keeping him close, however. 2-2 home. Stays low and outside. Walters able to hold himself up, and the count goes full. Another check around things in the Frontier League. Obviously want to know what's going on in Schaumburg. Boomers get 1 in the 3rd, but that's all they grab. On to the top of the 4th they go. Still Lake Erie 4, Schaumburg 1. Also Florence maintaining a 4-3 lead against Joliet, trying to eliminate the Slammers from playoff contention. 3-2 home. It's zoomed out towards right center. Down for a base hit and more. 1 run will surely score. They're going to try to send a second one home. There will be a relay home, but it will be plenty late, and it's a 2-run double for Ian Walters. And the lead grows by 2 once again. Khalil tried to hurry it home, but it was a few seconds too late. Max Peterson will have another walkout. That means we're going to have a pitching change here in the home half of the 5th inning. Looks like it's Jacob Bowles. We'll confirm that for you right after this. Otters need a change here in the 5th inning. Bottom of the 5th inning, Jacob Bowles has come in for the Otters out of the left field pin. Call the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. First pitch sent right back up the middle into the center field for a base hit. And because of it, they will leave men at first and third. They will not try to send the man home. And at this point, why risk getting the man thrown out when you can just keep adding to the insurance? So it is Bowles on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Zane from the Otters sent you. Men at first and third, nobody out still here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Jacob Bowles fires home towards the catcher, Devin Fisher. Swinging strike one. Fisher's already got a hold of a couple of baseballs tonight. One went well fouled down the left field line. He evened the next one up just a couple of feet and sent it well over the left field wall for a 2-run home run. At that point, just to give Washington a 4-run lead. 0-1 home. This is low and maybe outside as well to even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. As the pitch makes its way home, low and outside for ball 2, and Bowles looks frustrated after that throw. Bowles, one of a couple of former Southern Indiana Screaming Eagles on this Otters squad. Bowles' older brother was part of that national championship team at USI back in 2014. 2-1 home. Swinging strike 2 will even our count up. First time that anyone on either side of this ball game has seen pitches come home that quick. Bulls will step off prior to the 2-2. Men on the corners. Nobody out. Long wait for Jacob Bulls. Looking in towards his catcher, Felix. Finally agrees on one. Fires home on the 2-2. Swinging strike three. A check swing was not checked in time. And Fisher will be guilty of the German-American Bank strikeout, the first of the day for Jacob Bulls. With that, we head back to the top of the order, where Tristan Peterson steps in. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a flyout, and a first inning leadoff walk. He came around to score on Check's RBI single, which still to this point is representing the game-winning run. First pitch home. Misses low and outside for ball one. A good stop from Felix. Otters right back at it tomorrow night. They're in Northern Kentucky as they'll be facing off with the Y'alls for the final 3 games of the regular season. 1-0 the count as the pitch heads home to Peterson. Grounded to the left side into the glove of Davis to second for one. The relay to first going to be close, and it's not in time. So the Otters will only get 1 out, and a run scores as well on the 5-4 fielder's choice. So with a man at first and now 2 outs, Tyler Wilbur heads to the plate. He reached on a hit by pitch his last time, was stranded at second later. First pitch home, good for a called strike one on Tyler Wilbur. Little lead over there at first for Tristan Peterson as the 0-1 comes home. Inside, ball one. Defense playing rather deep in the infield, hoping they can just grab this last out of the inning. And prior to the 1-1 pitch, Wilbur's going to call time and reset. One man on, 2 men out. 3 have scored in the half inning for the Wild Things. The 1-1 pitch home stays low, ball 2. Game got away from Brett Adcock early. The two-run home runs in that second inning really hurt things. Allowed the Wild Things to not only space themselves in this game, but set themselves up to run away later. Two-one pitch home, sent out towards right field. Chasing it is Mcnamee, and it'll bounce into him for a 2-out single. And there's now runners at first and second. So that'll bring up the right fielder, Anthony Brocado. 2 men on, 2 men out. A chance for him to help extend the lead even further. Two outs, men at first and second. And Anthony Brocado waiting for his first pitch. It stays low for ball 1 to kick off the at-bat. One 1-0 to the plate. thought about, and it's good for a called strike. Evens the count up at 1-1. Runners at first and second. Jacob Bowles trying to end the half inning. The 1-1 home. Fouled back into the netting. Jacob Bowles came in, gave up a single, and then right after that was able to grab a strikeout, but then a RBI fielder's choice added another run to the scoreboard. Brocado ready at the plate for the 1-2 pitch. Jacob Bowles taking his time, looking in towards his catcher for a sign. Finally, they agree, and the 1-2 pitch heads home. Swinging strike three, and a German-American Bank strikeout ends the half inning, but not before 3 more runs score for Washington. They now lead by 9. Top of the 6th inning, and we're on to the top half of this 6th inning. Evansville looking for some answers right now. Due up in the half inning are the 9-1-2 of Khalil, Gordon, and Armstrong. First pitch in for a called strike on George Khalil. Khalil's 0 for 1 on the day. Had a solid contact swing out to left his first time up, but unfortunately for him, it was right at the left fielder Peterson. 0-1 home to him now. Stays a little bit high on that inside corner. They even the count at 1-1. Khalil waiting on the 1-1, leading off this inning. It's grounded towards the right side. Bellego plays it into the glove at second. Over to first in time for out number 1. So that'll bring up the leadoff man, and the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon. He's 1 for 2 with a triple in the third, but he was stranded at third. First pitch to Gordon is fouled off to the left side. It's going to get itself well out of play for a foul ball, strike one. Oh, on the count for Gordon. And ahead of a swing here for strike two. Drops it back early in the count. Wild Things defense expecting a bit of a pull as Bellego playing well out there behind the normal second base area. 0-2's outside for ball one on Miles Gordon. Bringing him a little closer to even. One, two to the outside. Evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're even at 2-2. Pitch comes home. Outside, ball 3. So Knapp trying to attack on the outside, trying to get Gordon to chase. He does not, and with it, we've got a full count now. Center fielder Miles Gordon, 1 for 2 on the day, looking to extend it on a 3-2. It's off the handle of the bat back into the netting. We stay even at, or stay full at 3-2. Tyler Spring warming up for Evansville in the left field pen. Could see him in this next inning. 3-2 to the plate. Stays inside, and it's a well-earned walk for Miles Gordon. Started off 0-2, worked himself back to a walk. Second baseman Andy Armstrong heading to the plate now. He's 0 for 2. Reached on an error in the first, then flew out in the third. After his error in the first, he tried to steal second, but was caught stealing. Ended up sliding into the tag. First pitch home. There goes Gordon towards second. The throw's going to be just a bit late. Gordon has himself a stolen base. Gordon opted to slide a little bit later, and because of it, he almost went too far, was able to hold on to the bag, and got in there quick enough. A 1-0 pitch home. There goes Gordon again. There will be no throw to third, and he's gotten himself 2 extra bases with a couple stolen bases. So once again, the Otters make it, I don't want to say very easy, because hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things to do in professional sports, but once again they've made it very easy on one of their teammates to bring in a run. They get the man to third, less than 2 outs. Did that a whole bunch last night, and Evansville just could not bring the men home. 2-0 count to Armstrong. 1 out, man at third. The ball stays high for ball 3. Does look as if Tyler Spring is going to be the pitcher in this bottom half of the 6th inning. He's now just pacing around the bullpen mound out there. 3-0 pitch comes home. Just catches the inside edge for a called strike 1 on Armstrong. Three balls, 1 strike. Pitch comes home, a half swing. Armstrong doesn't think he went around, and the first base umpire agrees, so it'll be a walk for Armstrong. there's men at the corners after a couple of walks with one out.
Now batting for Evansville, third baseman, number 2, J.R. Davis.
Now, worst case scenario for Davis is grounding into a double play. Got to find a way to drop this one somewhere in the outfield to bring home at least one run. Throw over to first. Armstrong back in time. Gordon stands at third. Armstrong at first. The Otters' top RBI man, J.R. Davis, at the plate. Pitch comes home. Driven down the right field line. Foul. It's going to keep hooking well out of play. Bouncing into the concourse. Still no action for Washington. They're plenty happy with the work they're getting from Stephen Knapp in this one. Again, he looks over towards Armstrong, ends up weakly throwing over. There's men at the corners with one out. J.R. Davis trying to bring home the Otters' first run. Oh, 1 to the plate. It's foul tipped back into the netting, and we'll get a bounce all the way out towards first. Davis steps out and asks to reapply some pine tar, as he will. Count dropped to 0-2 there after his foul tip. Armstrong at first, Gordon at third with one out here in the top of the 6th inning. Evansville trying to score their first run of the game. Again, they go check on Armstrong. Evansville thought they had scored a run back in the 2nd inning, but after a lengthy meeting between the 3 umpires, they overturned their original call, called Rosario out at first, took away Evansville's run, and ever since, it has been all Washington. (0-2) to J.R. Davis. Great stop from Fisher on the outside. With it, our count drops to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Small lead for Armstrong at first. A little bit bigger one for Gordon at third. 1-2 the pitch to J.R. Davis with one out. Cranked out towards left. It's going to keep working foul and ends up well foul. Solid contact for Davis, just in the wrong direction. Want to give you another quick check-in on how things are going in Schaumburg. Boomers have scored another run in the 4th inning. They trail 4-2 now. Again, they go check on Armstrong at first as the count remains 1-2. If you're sitting there thinking, you know, what does Evansville want most? At this point, probably a Schaumburg win, as if the Boomers were to win, it would keep Lake Erie at bay, and Evansville still has some breathing room to grab themselves a playoff spot. If they win the game, though, Evansville would, of course, want the Lake Erie win. Ball sent foul to the right side, and Davis continues what is a really hard-working at-bat. Joliet down to their last couple of outs at Florence. They trail 4-3. And of course, as I say that, the final outs recorded. Joliet's lost 4-3 at Florence, and with it, the Slammers have been eliminated from postseason contention. It's now just a two-horse race for this third spot. Lake Erie or Evansville is going to be the final team representing the West Division in the postseason. But it could certainly be a couple more days till we know which one. After another foul ball, the count stays 1-2. There's still 2 men on at the corners, and there's still 1 out. J.R. Davis working as hard as he can to try to at least bring 1 run in for Evansville. 1-2 pitch home. There goes Armstrong. The ball sent out towards center. Roa will work back towards it, bring it in for out number 2. And Gordon's going to come home to score on the sacrifice fly, and now Evansville does have their first run of the game. Armstrong will have to stay at first. But Gordon does score, and it now brings up the first baseman, Zach Bierman, with 2 outs. Armstrong at first, and the Otters now trailing by 8. First pitch home to Bierman, stays high and a bit outside as well for ball 1. Bierman earlier in the game 0 for 2, ground out to the second baseman and a pop out to the shortstop. Long wait for Knapp prior to the 1-0 pitch home to Zach Bierman. It's on the way. Bierman really spins on that one for a swinging strike 1. Pitch was well inside as well. One home. This one sent high, foul, going to get out of play behind home. Ends up bouncing down towards the fan section. With it, the count drops to 1-2 for Bierman. One and two to Zach Bierman with 2 outs, man at first. It's pushed foul to the left side, and he will continue to live through the count. The 1-2. Zoom down the right field line and foul. One ball, 2 strikes for Bierman. He's done good work to at least keep himself competitive at the plate. Waiting on the 1-2 home. It's outside and our count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Armstrong with a small lead over at first with 2 outs. 2-2 to Bierman. Off the handle of the bat, fouled off to the left side. Jake Polancic will make a grab near the dugout or near the bullpen. Actually, I think that might be Kevin Davis down there. Regardless, it was a foul ball. Count stays at 2-2. 2-2 home. Works way inside, and our count is full. Looked like it was going to hit Bierman. So taking his time up on the bump is Knapp. Fires home in the 3-2. Bierman sends it to the left side, through for a base hit. Armstrong goes around second, and there will be men at the corner for the Otters here with 2 outs. The shift was on there for the Washington defense, and Bierman pushed it the opposite way, and it looks like we could get a pitching change here for Washington now. Indeed we will. We'll let you know who's coming in for this one. Steven Knapp sees his day in before he can get through 6 innings. We'll be right back with the pitching change right after this. Still here in the top of the 6th inning. Evansville scored 1 run, and they've forced the hand of this Washington squad. They have to bring in a new arm. Christian James will get the nod out of the right field pin. This call to the bullpen, presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. James on the mound. Fisher behind the plate. The pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Men on the corners with 2 outs, and Jeffrey Baez heading to the plate for the Otters. First pitch home to Baez, taken for a called strike just under the elbows. Bobby Siegel has had to man the third base coaching box since the 2nd, as Andy McCauley dismissed from this game. Tossed after a close play at first, was overturned. 0-1 is low and outside to even the count up. Was a bang-bang play. McCauley had every right to be upset about it. It was called safe, and the Otters had scored. Then they overturned it, so rightfully so. McCauley wanted to know what was going on, why the change happened. But, I mean, it was almost as soon as he got over there to state his case that he was tossed, so very quick. 1-1 to Baez. Grounded to the left side, into the glove of Walters. He'll throw across the diamond to first for out number 3. And the Otters' offensive surge will stop at just 1 run. We're on our way to the bottom half of the 6th. Evansville still trails by 8. As we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning, Evansville opts to the bullpen, and Tyler Spring will enter this game. Spring carries a 7.43 ERA in, officially an 0-0 record. This call to the bullpen, presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Spring on the mound, Felix behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Greenville Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. First pitch home. Stays high for ball 1. Spring last appeared in that final game against Florence at home. He pitched for 3 full innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, walked 3 in the contest. (1-0) the count for Wagner Lagrange. This pitch a little closer and close enough for a called strike, just under the elbows. Defense making no adjustments out there positioning-wise as the 1-1 gets set for Wagner Lagrange. It falls in for a called strike, too. Lagrange looked like out of the hand. He might have given up on the pitch and decided to kind of stand up out of his stance, step back a little bit almost, and because of it, it fell in for a called strike. A 1-2 home to Lagrange. Bounces in. Good stop from Felix. Evens the count at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes for Lagrange. Base is empty, no outs as we're kicking off the bottom of the 6th. The 2-2 is swung on and missed, and Tyler Spring kicks off his day with a German-American Bank strikeout.
Now batting for the Wild Pigs, first baseman, number 28, Andrew Check.
Brings up Andrew Check, who has continued what has been a great series against Evansville, and really a great couple of series against Evansville. He's 3 for 3 on the day. First pitch home. Ball's in for a called strike. Oh, 1 the count. Spring getting himself ready. Check takes another pitch, this one for ball 1. And Spring throws his arms up asking where he missed. But the low pitch evens our count up at 1-1. Andrew Check waiting on the pitch, and finally Spring nods towards his catcher and fires home on the 1-1. It stays low for ball 2. Defense shifted a bit on that right side. Andy Armstrong playing a long way from his typical location in that similar shallow right field area. 2-1 towards Check. Foul tipped into the glove of Felix, and the count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On deck is Cam Bellego. See if he's going to have a man on or a 2 outs hitting situation. Spring gets set for the 2-2 pitch to Andrew Check. Fires home, and it's fouled back over the top of the netting behind home. Going to get itself well out of this place. The count evens at 2-2. Check waiting on his 2-2 offering. Doing well to stay competitive at the plate. Tyler Spring fires home on the 2-2. Misses high and outs. And the count goes full. Full count offering to Andrew Check. Pitch comes home. Fouled off again. Great work from Andrew Check. Three balls, two strikes as the long at-bat continues for Andrew Check. Great work from him to stay competitive in there. 3-2 to the plate. Again fouled back. Another check around the Frontier League as Lake Erie is holding on to their 4-2 lead at Schaumburg. Quebec running away in Game 2 of their doubleheader. They're up 8-3 over the New Jersey Jackals. Again on the 3-2 pitch to Andrew Check. Spring fires home. Swinging strike three. And finally, Tyler Spring wins the battle, his second straight German American Bank strikeout. That'll bring up the second baseman, Cam Bellego. He's 2 for 3 with a couple of singles in the game. Had one back in the first that at the time being looked like it was just a solid second run. Ended up just being another run of insurance in this one. Two outs, sixth inning. Spring fires home. It's sent very high and foul. Will get out of play for strike one. Ottawa's going to get themselves, or at least is closing in on a second win of the day in Game 2 of their doubleheader, up 2-1 against Trois Rivières. Ottawa really needed some wins today. Foul tip into the glove, good for strike two. Spring up a couple of pitches. In the top of the ninth inning, Sussex County leads Tri-City just 1-0. Not much offense there at Tri-City. They're celebrating throwback jersey nights. There the Valley Cats are. Oh, 2 comes home. Fouled off to the right side. And yet again, Spring's going to have to work hard to get out of a at-bat. Gateway leads Windy City 3-0. They're in the top of the fifth right now. Otters will obviously be hoping for some Gateway wins this weekend, as that's where Lake Erie concludes their season on the road at Gateway. 0-2 sent very high but shallow towards center. Armstrong's underneath it and brings it in for the third out. We're on our way to the seventh inning. Evansville still trails by a whole bunch in this one. Top of the 7th inning, Evansville trails by 8. If they have any hopes of coming back in this one, they've got to get to it quickly. Mcnamee, Rosario, and Felix are the 3-2 up here in the 7th inning. They were also the 3-2 up in the 5th, and they went up 3 down 3 in that one. Mcnamee's 1 for 2 in the game, a double and a ground out to his name. First pitch he sees, fouled back into the netting for strike 1. As expected, Christian James once again on the mound for this Washington squad. Ball sent out towards shallow right. Brocado chases in a few steps and brings it in for out number 1. So that'll take us to the 7th hole where the designated hitter Brian Rosario walks in. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out so far to his name. Rosario still batting lefty as it's still a righty pitcher up on the bump. Pitch comes home for a called strike 1. The 0-1 home to the designated hitter Brian Rosario. Taken for a called strike 2. Oh-2 home. Stays too far inside. Rosario will gain a little bit of ground. 1-2 now the count. Just hitting the 2.5-hour mark in this ball game. As a 1-2 hit sharply towards the shortstop Wilbur. He'll play over to first for a close out number 2. Rosario does such a good job of when he makes contact and puts the ball into play, he hustles down the line towards first. Made a close play out of a play that probably shouldn't have been close back in that 2nd inning. Another close play there, but he's on the losing end of a close battle. And it's quickly 2 outs for Evansville. Justin Felix, who's 0 for 2 in the game, had solid contact his last time up on a fly out to left. At the plate now, 2 outs, nobody on. His first offering falls in just on the high side of the zone for called strike 1. Final 3 games of the Otters regular season taking place in Northern Kentucky at Florence. Game 1 of that series starts tomorrow night, 7 o'clock local time first pitch, 6 o'clock. Back in Evansville, you can catch the game for free right here on the Otters Digital Network. 1-1 home to Felix. Swinging strike 2 on a high inside offering. Drops him back to a 1-2 count. Felix can get himself on. The 9-hole man, George Khalil, stands on deck. One-two home. Misses outside, and we're evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Felix still looking for his first time on base tonight. And he'll have a chance to do it now on a full count payoff pitch. Otters have reached once on an error tonight, twice on walks, and then their 3 hits are a single, a double, and a triple. The only man brought home so far was Gordon after his walk on a Davis sacrifice fly. Ball 4 stays outside, and Felix is going to get himself a 2-out walk. And Felix is going to be the first man of the Otters' bottom 3 to reach base today. So the shortstop, George Khalil, heads to the plate. 2 outs, man on first. George just looking to extend the inning. Khalil also made solid contact earlier in this one. A hard hit out towards left, but right at Peterson. Followed it up with a ground out back in the 6th. Takes a called strike 1 to kick off this at-bat. Oh, 1 swung on and missed. Khalil a little bit ahead of that one. Just barely got a foul tip back, and he's back in the count 0-2 now. James looking in towards his catcher, Fisher. Agrees on a pitch selection and fires home on the 0-2 pitch to George Khalil. Called strike 3, and the inning ends. That's good for the first strikeout of the game for James, and we're on our way to the bottom half of the 7th. Evansville trails by a bunch. We've stretched in Washington, and wild things are still up a bunch on the scoreboard. Tyler Spring returns to the mound for Evansville, hoping to keep this game where it's at. He'll face the bottom 3 of Ian Walters, Hector Roa, and Devin Fisher. The 3 have combined for 4 hits and 4 RBIs in the game. First pitch home from Spring. Catches the outside of the zone for a called strike 1. Oh, 1 count for the third baseman, Ian Walters. Ball is swung on and missed for strike 2 now. Oh, 2 for Ian Walters. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Spring fires home, and it's a swinging strike 3. And 3 of the 4 batters that Tyler Spring has faced have sat down with strikeouts. It's the 10th of the day for Evansville. And 4 of the last 5 Wild Things have sat down with 1. As we work towards these bottom couple of the order, center fielder Hector Roa heads to the plate. 2 for 3 on the day, couple singles. First pitch home. In there for a called strike 1. Roa looked like he was taking all the way with that first pitch. There's a man starting to warm for Washington in the right field bullpen. That is Isaac Matson. 0-1 home for the center fielder Roa. Bounces in for ball 1. Looked like Spring was trying to attack the low outside corner and just didn't quite get there. With 1 out, we've got a 1-1 count to Hector Roa. Base is empty in the bottom of the 7th. It's a swinging strike 2. Spring really zoomed that one home. Defense comfortable right where they've been as they await the 1-2 pitch home from their pitcher Tyler Spring. Pitch is on the way, and it's pushed out to the right side into the glove of Andy Armstrong for a line out 2.
Now batting for the round, please. Catcher, number 26, Devin Fisher.
So that'll bring up the catcher Devin Fisher. A couple strikeouts to his name so far in the ballgame, but it followed a 2-run home run back in the 2nd. First toss home. Stays high for ball 1. Spring ready on the 1-0. Fires the pitch home. It finds the zone and evens our count at 1-1. Two outs, 1-1 pitch home. That one finds the zone on the inside half. Spring has looked in very good control since he entered this game. He's recovered 5 straight outs. 3 of the 5 have been strikeouts, and he's going to try to grab one more here to end the 7th. A 1-2 offering to the catcher, Devin Fisher. Called strike 3. And Spring gets himself another German-American Bank strikeout. We're on our way to the 8th. Evansville trails by 8. On our way to the top of the 8th inning, Miles Gordon, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, set to kick off this 8th inning. Tyler Spring doing all he can on the pitcher's mound to keep Evansville close, but the Otters' bats have been quite silenced in this game. First pitch across for a swinging strike for Gordon. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a triple, a strikeout, and a walk. Came around to score after his walk as he stole second and third and then was brought home by Davis's sacrifice fly. 0-1 pitch to the plate, swinging strike 2. Couple of very quick strikes for Miles Gordon. Long wait for Isaac Matson up there. Fires home on the 0-2. Swinging strike 3. Zoomed it past Gordon on all 3. So that brings up the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. He's 0 for 2, reaching on an error, flying out, and walking in the game. Fouls a pitch off and starts off back in the count 0-1. Armstrong ready for the 0-1 pitch. Matson fires home, stays high and in, and evens the count up at a ball and a strike. Evened at 1-1. And a hefty swinging strike 2 from Armstrong on the high inside offering. Swinging strike is fouled back into Fisher's glove, and it's back-to-back strikeouts now for Matson as well. Otters really starting to run out of outs in this one, down to their last 4 offensive ones. J.R. Davis heads to the plate. He's 0 for 2. Couple of ground outs and a sacrifice fly. First pitch low and outside. Ball 1 kicks us off. Otters look as if they're going to send Spring back out for the bottom of the 8th inning. Nobody warming up in that left field pen. Ball fouled back and then bouncing down towards the lower concourse. And with it, our count's even at 1-1. Ball pushed down the right field line, foul. One ball, 2 strikes for J.R. Davis. Long wait for Matson up on the mound. Fires home now on the 1-2. Just missing on that outside edge and evening our count up. Reminder, Evansville back in action tomorrow night. 7 o'clock local first pitch, 6 o'clock Central Time there in Evansville from Florence, Kentucky. Another checkout in Schaumburg, where the Crushers have exploded with some offense in the 7th. It's now 7-2 Lake Erie, bottom of the 7th inning. And if you're wondering what happens if Evansville loses and Lake Erie wins, the two things the Otters did not want to happen tonight, it would result in the gap between the two being lessened just a little bit. They'd be separated by just a game and a half. Ball sent on the ground towards shortstop Wilbur, into the glove, across the diamond in plenty of time for out number 3. We're on our way to the bottom of the 8th inning. Evansville still down by 8. Bottom of the 8th inning, and we're on our way to the top of the order for this Wild Things squad. Tristan Peterson, Tyler Wilbur, and Anthony Brocado due up here in the 8th. Tyler Spring, once again back out there for Evansville. His first pitch of the half inning, and there for a called strike. Springs faced the minimum 6 batters so far. He's struck out 4 of the 6. 3 have been swinging, 1's been called. Oh, 1 to Tristan Peterson. On the way now from Spring. Pitch just trailed off towards the bottom of the zone, and with it evens our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 to the plate. Sent back over the netting behind home. And the count remains at 1-2. A couple of finals for you around the Frontier League. Ottawa does complete their 2-game sweep of that doubleheader over Trois-Rivières. 2-1 Game 2's final. And the Sussex County Miners get themselves a narrow 1-0 win at Tri-City. Bats were really hot in that one, obviously. It was a throwback jersey night for Tri-City, and obviously the throwback jerseys did not do the trick. Big win for Sussex as they try to keep themselves up there near the top. New York is up big on Empire State, currently 9-5. They're in the top of the 8th right now. Like I mentioned, Lake Erie up big at Schaumburg, at least for the time being, 7-2. They're in the bottom of the 7th. And Gateway has extended their lead there at Windy City. 9-0 Grizzlies in the 6th inning right now. Gateway goes home after that one and will host Lake Erie for a 3-game set to end the year. Big set for Lake Erie over there. 3-2 home to Peterson. Taken high for ball 4, and it's a leadoff walk. So Tyler Wilbur, the 2-hole hitter and shortstop for Washington, he's 1 for 3 on the day and now heads to the plate with a man on first and nobody out. First pitch home. Catches at the elbows for a called strike 1. Spring taking his time between a couple of these pitches now. First off, or the 0-1 offering, stays outside and evens the count up. So, of course, some things still to work out tonight. Ottawa, for the time being, has moved themselves back up to the 2-hole in the East Division, but a win from New York potentially jumps them right back up into the 2nd hole. Called strike drops Wilbur back to a 1-2 count. Sussex County's win keep them in the hunt. They are currently a game and a half out of second place Ottawa. Tri-City really needed that win tonight because of the loss. They would potentially be 3 games out of that final playoff spot and could be the next team eliminated. There's a lot of pitchers that have faced that Tri-City team who will tell you that's one of the best teams in the league because of the way they approach the plate. I know I had multiple Otter pitchers tell me after their 3-game set with Tri-City, and now there's a chance we don't even see Tri-City. 1-2 count for Tyler Wilbur with a man on first and nobody out. Spring fires home, misses outside, and our count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Small lead over at first for Peterson. No reason to risk getting any further away. 2-2 to the plate. Outside ball 3. And in both of these counts, after leading the counts well, Spring just missing the zone and sending the count full. Spring nods home towards his catcher, Felix. As the 3-2 payoff pitch comes home, it's foul tipped back towards the netting. Wilbur started his swing, tried to hold it back, ended up making contact and was lucky it just fouled backwards. Spring has agreed on a pitch with his catcher, Felix, as the 3-2 comes home. Sent sharply towards Khalil at short to second for 1. The relay over to first in time. And a 6-4-3 double play helps out the Otters. So with 2 down and nobody on, now the right fielder Anthony Brocado heading to the plate. Brocado on the day is 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, a flyout, and a walk to his name thus far. After his walk in the second, though, Wagner LaGrange brought them both home with a 2-run home run. Pitch comes home. Misses the zone for ball 1. Was a good offering. Stayed under the knees. Long wait for Spring. Fires home on the 1-0 to Brocado. It's fouled right back into the netting and evens the count up at 1-1. Another low outside pitch. This one takes our count to 2 balls, 1 strike. Spring has been very good in his first couple of innings in this game. Trying to keep that alive with a 2-1 pitch home to Brocado. Brocado's a bit ahead of it, and the count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Even at 2-2, with 2 outs and nobody on here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Firing home is Spring. It's lifted high and shallow to right field. Bouncing back is Armstrong, and he'll bring it in for out number 3. We're on to the 9th inning. Otters with a lot of ground to make up, but not very much time left to do it. Top of the 9th inning, due up for Evansville. The 4, 5, 6 hitters of Zach Bierman, Jeffrey Baez, and Elijah Mcnamee. And Bierman will start off with a swinging strike 1. Swinging strike 2 drops Bierman back quickly to 0-2. Bierman on the day, 1 for 3, a single back in the 6th inning. 0-2. Swinging strike 3 and a very quick out number 1 for Zach Bierman. Third strikeout of the day for Isaac Matson. That'll bring up Jeffrey Baez. Baez on the day, 0 for 3. Couple of ground outs to the third baseman and a fly out to center. Swinging strike 1 kicks off the at-bat for Baez. And so far in the inning, it's 4 pitches thrown for Matson, 4 swinging strikes. Oh, 1 to the plate. That one is off the foot of the catcher, Fisher, and off to the right side foul. Apologies, not foul. Off to the right side for ball off of the foot to Fisher. So the count's even at 1-1. Another ball takes the count to 2-1 for Jeffrey Baez. Two-1 to the plate, sent grounding to the left side. And the count evens up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two-two for Baez, the left fielder. Off the handle of the bat, choked up, foul. It's going to get out of play. Bounce up to the second set of seating. So the count evens at 2-2 for Jeffrey Baez, trying to keep himself alive in the count. Again choked up, and the ball sent foul to the right side. Yet again sends into the second row of seats. Baez even at 2-2 with 1 out, nobody on here in the top of the 9th inning. Matson fires home. This one's again fouled off to that right side into the second sets of seating. Two-two swung on and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Matson. And the Otters are down to their last out of this one. Two outs, nobody on. Mcnamee represents the final hope for the Otters in this one. First pitch home, swung on and missed. Oh, 1 makes its way home to Elijah Mcnamee. Bounces in, and with it, our count's evened up. 1 ball, 1 strike. If Mcnamee can get himself on, Brian Rosario stands on deck. He's also 0 for 3 in the game. 1-1 home. Zoomed down the left field line. It's going to work itself foul and be off the brick wall out there. One-two the count for Mcnamee after the long foul ball. The 1-2 home misses low and away, and our count will even up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two-two to the plate. Swinging strike 3. Matson strikes out the side, and the Wild Things are going to get the win here. It's the first sweep for Washington in this series in over a decade. Got to go back to 2010 to find the last one. This is a game that Washington owned from the very beginning. Grabbed a couple of runs in the first after the Otters had a run taken away in the second. Washington used that as momentum, and they ran away. Two two separate two-run home runs in the second, and they never looked back. 3 more came in the 5th inning. Evansville grabbed 1 in the 6th, but it would not matter in this one. And it is another win for Washington to keep them well atop the West Division. This win will help out Schaumburg a little bit, who is currently in trouble against Lake Erie. Of course, it won't matter if they fall in that one now that Evansville has fallen here. The Otters cannot clinch their postseason spot tonight. They'll have to try again tomorrow at Florence. First pitch from the Yells Park is set for 7 o'clock local, 6 o'clock in Evansville. We'll have the pregame show starting for you just a few minutes beforehand here on the Otters Digital Network. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's tuned in these last few nights here in Washington on the Otters Digital Network. Lots you could do with your weekday nights, and we're proud you've decided to spend it with the 2-time Frontier League champion, Evansville Otters. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will, saying so long for the final time this regular season from Wild Things Park in Washington. I'll talk to you tomorrow night as the Otters are in Northern Kentucky to take on the Yells for the final 3 games of the 2022 regular season. Have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.